So it's Monday morning after Easter. It seems a little weird sometimes to be going right now. I think maybe it's a little different this year because we were all home, but we were still doing things probably. And so today might be a little bit of a slower day for some of us, and that's okay, right? Especially with this kind of weather that's coming in. I feel like when it gets rainy and dark, we just tend to want to curl up and be a little more cozy. And we might be less inclined to jump around and work on handstands, right? So you're going to just meet your day where it is. And if today is the day that you keep your coffee mug next to your yoga mat, that is just fine. One of the things that we're all kind of sorting through is the variety of emotion. And I think sometimes that in itself gets overwhelming because we want to sort of identify with one. I feel this. And when we have conflicting emotions where we feel one thing and we feel another, it throws us off and it creates stress. Morning! I can see you guys showing up. So on one hand, we can be really grateful that we have homes and we're safe and we have technology and we have some time to kind of work on things that we wanted to work on. I mean, I've renovated areas of my house I never thought I'd get to because I'm here. I can. And all of that's really good. I'm enjoying the time with my kids. I've gotten out in the garden more than I probably did all last year already, you know, and I love doing those things. So there's really good parts too. But then we feel constricted and we feel scared and we're unsure of what's happening in the future or how long this is going to take. And damn it, I just want to go out and have a coffee. You know, I want to go eat dinner with my friends and I want to see my family. And so this may have been a hard holiday. If that's where you're at, because it was different. Even though we feel good about things, we can feel bad about them too. You know, we can be lonely and scared, but we can also still be happy and recognize that even though I have this underlying lack of ease, I'm still lucky and I'm still blessed. And even though I don't know that this is ideal, right? Because none of us do. I'm not going to panic because I also know that I have so much. We get to choose constantly, not just once, but over and over and over again. When we're feeling those conflicting emotions and we're on that little balancing act where we decide to hold. And sometimes that's not going to mean we run all the way to the happy-go-lucky side. Sometimes it's right in the middle where you're aware that, yeah, I do feel this fear or this anxiety, but I can also see this too. I think it's important for us all to remember that everybody's feeling all those things. Everybody has some level of that. Whether they're choosing to lean into that side of fear or not, it's still probably there. Everyone that you talk to, everyone that you interact with, your kids too. So how does that translate to our yoga? Well, partly because I needed something to talk about while y'all showed up, but this is where we find that balance. Where we can say, gosh, I feel this really uncomfortable, horrible feeling, but I have this practice, I have this mat, I have this community. I am loved and cherished and all those things. And we find that grace that comes with our own sense of peace. That's what it's all about. It's not really about doing the handstands and forearm balances, although you know I love doing those things. that's not what the gift of the practice is. So, honor what you need. On your mat and off. Be extra kind to yourself and extra kind to those that you meet or speak to or text with. Because everybody's fighting a battle between those two extremes. And when you are ready, we're going to start on your mat. And I don't care where you start. I'm going to turn on my playlist right now. So if you're playing your music with me, now's the time to turn it on. If you're going to pick your own playlist and you want to start it, that's fine too. So you might be on your back, you might be in child's pose, you might decide to stay in a seat. And you're just going to start to become aware. So, I was listening to a podcast a while ago. It was about how we deal with those negative emotions, and we tend to want to cover them up with positive. Like, right, I can't remember what cartoon that is where they're all the little characters and there's joy and sadness, and I'll remember it later. And joy just keeps trying to like come up and everything's fine, everything's going to be fine, and she shoves sadness off to the side. And it isn't until they learn to balance that things start to right themselves, because going into that whole joy area, focusing on that will eventually cause everything to crumble, because it's not giving those other emotions a chance to breathe. So when we calm down and we quiet the mind, sometimes the first thing that we're doing and why we don't like it is we're letting that exterior, that armor of joy, that power of positive thinking in the conscious mind, we're letting that just shh for a bit. And what we feel underneath it is that other stuff. It's this end of that, right? The uncomfortable end, the hard end, the scary end. We don't like that feeling. That feeling isn't permanent. And the thing about it, what you'll start to learn is maybe 2 minutes. It will last for maybe 2 minutes. That feeling of anxiety, of overwhelm, of nausea, of wanting to scream on the inside, or whatever it feels like to you. 2 minutes. It will soften. Most likely it will soften before that, within a minute to a minute and a half. And then it's different. The anxiety will still be there, the fear, the anger, but it'll be softer, right? And so that heavy weight starts to move toward that center. And then we don't need to lean into that superpower of positive thinking and drowning out all the negative thoughts in my head, right? Because we've started to just let them soften on their own. But in order to get there, you have to sit with the negative feelings. Sitting with them doesn't mean brooding or obsessing or fixating or ruminating. That's telling a story around the negative feelings. Sitting with them is just sitting, breathing softly, calmly, observing the emotion, the sensation, and giving it permission to leave. That's what we do in this little bit of time at the beginning of class, where we check in and we kind of let everything melt away. This is one of the most important things you can do, especially now, where everything is so uncertain. So give yourself permission to feel those things, whatever it feels like. Be okay with them being there. And start to deepen your breath, moving into a more diaphragmatic breath, lifting the pelvic floor, lifting the navel. Deep breaths in and out, finding a rhythm. Finding a balance between the inhales and the exhales. Making your way to hands and knees. If you're on your back, it's an exhale to hug the knees in, then a rock and roll up. If you're in child's pose, it's just an inhale to come forward. And when you get to hands and knees, it'll be some cats and some cows. Inhales to look up, drop the belly. Exhales to round in and look towards your navel. You know what cats and cows are. And your cats and cows can turn into anything else that they need to be. And actually, because of what we're going to play with later on, hang on one second. I'm going to change this a little bit. There, that's better. Okay, now I can see you guys better. I can't see any of you that was alive. I can see your names. So we're going to inhale and we're going to exhale, but we're going to be working on peacock. Surprise! So take some of those cats and cows with your hands turned around. Warm up the forearms. Don't be scared if you don't know what peacock is. There's always places to play. So maybe we take a few that way and we take a few this way. Looking over each shoulder. Give yourself a couple more breaths. And it's going to be downward facing dog when you're ready. Walking it out. Bending the right knee, bending the left. Eventually, both heels reach down. We spread the fingers out. The index fingers point forward. The chest draws back toward the knee. And then we're going to inhale to soften both knees. We're going to look up between the hands, and we're just going to step up to the front. Halfway up. Fold it in. Hang. Take a deep breath in. Open your mouth. Sigh it out. And then inhale, ripple all the way up. Exhale, we're going to bring the hands down to heart center. And then on your inhale, lift. We're just going to take this first part as a sun A with a side bend. Exhale, side bend to each side. We inhale up through the middle, and then we exhale to fold it in. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, plant the hands. You're going to step both of your feet back. Find your high plank. So we could high plank on the toes or we can high plank on the knees. Either one's going to be fine. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, pull the chest forward. Exhale, the hips go up and back, downward facing dog. And then inhale, lift the right leg. Give it a nice bend, twist open. Rolling the ankle, maybe pushing that heel into an imaginary wall behind you. As you exhale, bring that right foot up, step it up between the hands, come down to the shin in the back, and lift up to a kneeling crescent. Pushing down with both feet. So top of the back foot, right? Bottom of the front foot. Exhale, shift back, perhaps split. Just opening up this right leg. On an inhale, we're going to come to a full crescent. So we're going to come forward, curl the toes under, push through the heel, and lift. Take a couple of breaths. And then exhale, waterfall. So we straighten that front knee. We may want to hop the back foot up, and we fold in, the chest aiming down toward that big toe. So here. Not this. Right? Take an exhale, lunge in, plant the hands, pull that right knee into your chest. Exhale, lower halfway down, tap the knee down, and then press back up. Do that again. So we're pulling that knee up into the chest, and we're taking those little baby push-ups. Maybe take 3, and then take a half vinyasa. And then left leg is going to lift. Bend, twist open. Bring that left knee up. Down to the shin in the back. And lift. Find that kneeling crescent to your half splits. Bringing yourself forward, curling the toes under in the back. Full crescent to a waterfall. So we straighten that front knee. I want to hop the back foot up. We want to be able to plant it down. And then we fold in. Lunge in, plant the hands, lift that left knee into the chest, exhale, lower halfway down, inhale, lift up, do it again. Lower down, tap the knee, lift up, one more. And then half vinyasa. So this is our first flow. If you don't like those push-ups, you don't have to do them, they're just an option. On an inhale, soften the knees. And float or exhale to step to the front. Halfway up and fold. Root. Rise up. Hands to heart. Inhale to lift. Side bend right. Center. Left. Center. Fold it in. Inhale halfway up. Plant the hands, step or float your feet back. So for those of you playing with that float, plant your hands, soften into the knees, belly on the thighs, and think about pulling your heels up and then ascending them back. So it's almost going into an armless crow pose. Right leg lift. Step it up, down to the shin. Supported crescent. Half splits, crescent, waterfall. Inhale to lunge in, pull the knee up into the chest, tap it down halfway, tap. Last time, tap vinyasa. Left leg lifts. Knee up into the chest, step the foot up, kneeling crescent on the inhale. Exhale, half splits. Bring it forward, curl the back toes under. Full expression of your crescent. Plant it down, fold. Waterfall. Lunge in, plant the hands. Tap the knee. And then a half vinyasa when you're ready. All right, one more time, because you're so lucky. Soften the knees and float to the front. Halfway up and fold. Rise up, hands to heart. Inhale to lift. Side bend to each side. Usually by the third time, you've got some more movement in the rib cage, so enjoy that. Maybe it feels different. Fold it in. Halfway up. Plant the hands, step or float back, half vinyasa. Right leg lifts. Step it up, down to the shin, kneeling crescent. Half splits, full crescent, waterfall. Lunge it in, plant the hands, tap that knee. As many times as you want. Maybe it was none, half vinyasa. And then it's the left. Left leg is gonna lift. Step the left foot up, down to the shin in the back. Supported crescent, half splits, full crescent, fold in waterfall. Lunge in, plant the hands, tap the knee, or don't. Half vinyasa. When you get to downward facing dog, deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Come down to child's pose. Just a few breaths. So I already told you we're going to work on peacock. Some of you are like, crap. Some of you are like, what's peacock? Because those are probably the only two things you're thinking. No one's like, yay, peacock. Don't be scared. So peacock is, there's a definite strength component. There's a leverage component. And there's a can I keep my legs and my glutes engaged in that planking position component? Because if anything is soft, you don't get the right lift, right? So come up to your seat. Actually, just come to sitting on your heels. You're going to want your knees apart. There's different ways to cue getting into the beginning of peacock. Most people will cue it from here. I don't actually like to come into it from here, but I'll show you that setup. And you're going to turn your hands around like we did in our cats and cows. So the fingers are going to point in toward you. And then I'm going to bend my elbows. And I'm going to start to lean forward. Why I don't like coming into it from here is here, my elbows are at my ribs. They need to be by my center of gravity. So if you've been practicing, I talk a lot about your center of gravity, and your center of gravity is usually like a little bit below your navel, right here. So if my elbows are here and I'm trying to stand on my hands, I have to have a huge lean into my hands, to get my legs to come up. I don't know how you would actually leverage that. It doesn't seem to make any sense to me. It seems like it would be hard to breathe and hard on the rib cage. So, and possibly hard on the arms too. So what I would do, but for those of you that like that way, you can go into it. I would come up to my knees. And then I bring my arms forward a little bit. So almost like I'm coming into a tabletop, slightly back from a tabletop. And instead of leaning into the hands where they are, I'm going to lean forward and I'm going to come up onto my toes. So when I lean forward, now look where my elbows are. My elbows are by my hips. Where's my center of gravity? Here. Okay, so now my elbows and my hands are right underneath my center of gravity. This is the mechanics part of this pose. The only way we can balance is if your center of gravity is directly over whatever you're standing on. It's like a machine. That's how it works. That's how it 100% of the time works. There's no exceptions to that. So, coming forward, my legs are already straight. I'm already in the right position. I've got my elbows by my hips. My fingers are spread out. And then if I bring my head down, I can lift my legs, and then I can lift my gaze. And if the back side of me is engaged, I can make a plank there. If the back side of me is not engaged, my legs are going to fall down when I lift my head. Right? So if your peacock is like this, either your hands aren't in the right spot, or more likely something from between here and here isn't working. Keep lifting the pelvic floor, lifting the navel, and engage your glutes, right? That's going to feel a little weird. We're not used to engaging the glutes. Whenever we're in a different position than we're used to, engaging any muscle will feel different. And we're definitely not used to engaging the glutes when we're balancing like that. So that's going to feel weird because it feels like you should be lifting with your back. Use your glutes. It makes a big difference. And what you'll find when you engage, it's not that physically intense, as long as you can engage that backside, right? So that's that mental piece that I was talking about. Getting your brain to figure out, okay, how do I keep all of this solid when I'm here? Just because it's different. If you've ever tried to engage lifting the pelvic floor when you're upside down, it feels different. So it's that basic same kind of a thing. So that's my workshop-y pose for today. If it's too much, work on peacock with one leg. If you're feeling a lot in your wrists, which you can, then just your job is to just kind of start getting your hands used to this, because what will happen is as you open up this forearm, it's not going to be your body trying to dig into the wrist as much. So this is like step one, getting this bend here, or getting the hands to be able to spiral around. And then step two is being able to start bending the elbows while you're here. You're going to feel that stretching through those forearms. So once we get the forearms and the hands and the wrists and all that set, that lift comes in later. Right? All right. So if you're done playing, go back to child's pose for a little bit, because that's intense. It's kind of a funny, intense pose because it's not super physically demanding, but somehow it is. Sounds stupid, but if you've been doing it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So back to child's pose, come back to your strong breath. Lifting that pelvic floor, lifting the navel. Evening out the inhales and the exhales, and then coming up to your hands and knees. You want some cats and cows. Give yourself 5 or 6 breaths. And then downward facing dog. On your inhale, we're going to soften the knees. And then we're going to float or exhale to step to the front. Half lift, fold it in, sink the hips, lift up, find your chair pose. Exhale, prayer twist to the right. So I'm not going to have that peacock pose in the flow. Inhale through center, exhale, take that to the other side. And the reason is, even if when most of us don't do a lot of that kind of a pose, inhale, lift back up, exhale, plant the hands in Bakasana. So we'll come forward and lift the heels up. From here, step one foot back, then the other. It's harder than shooting them back. Half vinyasa. So you can always do peacock if you want to skip that beginning part and play with your peacock pose, but it's a lot on your wrists. So I think it's one that's better to do a few times and then kind of come back to it, as opposed to adding it into every single flow. So downward facing dog, right leg lifts. Step it up. Pivot and plant the back foot. Warrior A. Warrior B. Flip the palms up, shoulders roll back, flip the palms back over, gaze is always out over the middle finger of the front hand. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, last reverse. This time, exhale, we're going to pivot on the feet. Dragonfly twist at the back. And inhale, reverse revolve. So tip back. I've still got my chest lifting up to the ceiling, right? I'm not twisting and collapsing in. I'm going to exhale, pivoting on my feet again, and I'm going to prayer twist at the front. So I'm hooking my left elbow on the right knee, and I'm trying to line my thumbs up with my sternum as I lift up to the ceiling with my gaze. Come forward, lift that back leg up. Try to keep the hands in prayer. That's super fun. Take your next inhale and find an airplane with the hands in prayer if they're still there. And if not, it's just a regular airplane. And then take an exhale, tip over. Standing splits. From your standing splits, take a step, hop, or a float back, and a half vinyasa. And then it's going to be the left side. The left leg lifts. Step it up. Warrior A. Warrior B. Make the adjustments you need to make. Reverse. Side angle. Reverse. Side angle. Last time, reverse. Pivot on your feet, dragonfly twist. Inhale, reverse, revolve. Lifting up to the ceiling still. Pivot on your feet as you exhale, prayer twist, right elbow, left knee. Try to line the thumbs up with the sternum. Lunge in a little bit deeper so we can lift that back leg up, trying to keep those prayer hands if we can. Next inhale, we find that airplane. And then we're going to tip over standing splits. Then we're going to take a step hop or a float back and a half vinyasa. Take a few breaths to collect. So if you want to play with your peacock, from here, you'd come down to your knees, bring the hands back, and lift. If you're not playing, your opportunity is going to the front of the mat instead. Bringing your feet up to the front, half lift, fold in, sink the hips, Utkatasana. Prayer twist to each side. Stepping each foot back after Bakasana, half vinyasa. Right leg lifts. Step it up. Warrior A, warrior B, reverse, side angle, reverse, side angle, reverse, dragonfly twist, reverse revolve, prayer twist at the front. Inhale, it's a revolved half moon. Bound if we can, or hands in prayer if we can, and then it's an airplane, or a warrior three, or whatever you're doing. Standing splits to a half vinyasa. And then it's the left side, so the left leg lift, and we step it up. Warrior A, warrior B, reverse, side angle, reverse, side angle, reverse, dragonfly twist at the back, reverse revolve, prayer twist at the front, revolved half moon, airplane, standing splits, step, hop, float it back, half vinyasa. Take a few breaths to collect. We're going to do it again. So coming down to your peacock or inhaling to soften and float to the front. Halfway up, fold it in, Utkatasana, prayer twist, center, prayer twist, center, Bakasana. Step it back, half vinyasa. Right leg lifts. Step it up. Warrior A, B, reverse, side angle. Do that again, reverse side angle. Last reverse. Dragonfly twist at the back. Reverse revolve. Pivot around. Prayer twist front. Revolved half moon. Airplane. And then tip over standing splits to a half vinyasa. Left side. Left leg lifts. Step it up. Warrior A. Warrior B. Reverse. Side angle. Reverse. Side angle. Reverse. Dragonfly twist. Reverse revolve. Prayer twist. Lift that back leg up. Airplane. Tip over. Standing splits. Half vinyasa. Let's see if we have time for one more. We do. You guys are so lucky. All right, one more round. Ready? If you're going up to the front, go up to the front. If you're taking your peacock, you come down to the knees. Spin the hands around. Lean forward. And don't overthink it. See if pointing the toes works better or flexing the feet. If you can keep those legs solid, that lift isn't far away. When you're ready, we meet up in downward facing dog. Right leg lifts. Nice bend, twist open if you want one. Step it up, hip fit and plant the back foot, warrior A. B. Reverse. Side angle. Reverse. Side angle. Reverse. Dragonfly twist. Reverse revolve. Pivoting around, prayer twist at the front. And lift that back leg up. Airplane. Tipping over. Take those hops or your half vinyasa. If you're playing with a handstand, you know that's where it goes. Left leg is going to lift. Left leg steps up. Warrior A. B. Reverse. Side angle. Reverse. Side angle. Reverse. Dragonfly twist. Reverse revolve. Prayer twist. Revolve half moon. Airplane. And then tip over. The hands are going to come down. And we make our way to that half vinyasa. And then inhale, the right leg lifts. Bring it up for pigeon on the right. So the right shin crosses in front of you. Walk your hands back, lift your chest. And then walk yourself down. And I'll time. We won't be here too long. Coming back to your breath if it got choppy. Lengthen and soften. So something can be soft and still strong, right? You can have a soft breath that's smooth, but it's still loud and pushing on the exhale. And that's sort of what we're looking for when we're here in something like a pigeon. About another 3 breaths. And we're going to plant the hands under the shoulders and we're going to inhale to lift. We're going to curl the back toes under. And this right leg comes back with us to downward facing dog. Walk it out. If you like a three-legged dog instead, that's fine. Left leg is going to lift. Cross it in front. Walk yourself down. So it might be a little more intense at first on side B. Give it a couple of extra breaths to settle in. And then if you need to move, you need to soften. About half done. Next inhale, press the hands under the shoulders, lift yourself up, curl those back toes under, bring this left leg back, walk it out, or take that three-legged dog. And then it's an inhale to soften. And we're gonna come through to a seat. So we can come down to the knees, shift the hips to one side, or swing the legs around to the other, or we can hop through and bring the legs out. And then lower down onto your back, hug your knees in. Give them a squeeze, a gentle rock side to side. Plant your feet behind your sits bones, the hands next to the hips. 3 back bends. So first one I'm cueing is going to be bridge. That doesn't mean you have to take bridge. It means that's what I'm cueing. You can take wheel. You're in bridge, you're pushing your thigh bones forward. Play with activating your glutes, not clenching, right, but using them to lift from underneath. That activates the muscle in your low back. So we're going to get a lot of support by using that as opposed to just pushing only with those thigh bones. Take your next exhale to lower yourself down. And a round of breath. And then we're going to lift again. So hands can come next to the ears if we want to go into wheel. So I'll cue wheel this time. But those of you who have a wheel practice, you pretty much know where it is. And then we lift up. And then we're going to exhale to lower it down. Round of breath. And then take either one again. One last back bend. Inhaling to lift. Exhale, lower down. Hug the knees in. Give yourself a squeeze. Gently rock side to side. And extend those legs up overhead, flex your feet. You bring your hands next to your hips. And you can stay right here in candlestick, or you can move into shoulder stand, or you can take a few breaths in each. What you'll find is if you stay in candlestick, you might start to notice a little bit of slight tremble up this front of the leg. Right? It's not as easy as it looks. Anything that you stay in long enough will have an edge. So you're welcome to stay there, or you're welcome to bring your feet overhead, shimmy the shoulders under you,
Hands to the small of your back for support if you need them. And then lift up for your shoulder stand. And if you can do lotus, you can come into lotus in shoulder stand. If you do Ashtanga, you know this is part of it. Being able to do that shoulder stand with lotus legs. So if you can't do lotus, you're not going to be able to do it upside down, so you don't need to try it. But those of you who have that practice, couple more breaths. And then we're going to exhale, letting those knees come toward the forehead. Toes can touch down behind you. Your plow pose or your ear pressure pose. And then begin to roll your way back to candlestick, one vertebrae at a time. When you get to candlestick, we lower down to fish pose. We're going to be lifted up. So up onto the elbows, dropping the crown of the head back. Exhale, lower all the way down. Hug the knees in. Give them a squeeze. One more time. Open the arms in T. On an exhale, drop your knees to the right side. Just a few breaths on this right side. And then inhale, bring them back through center. Cross them over the other way. Inhale, the knees come back through center. Exhale, let the legs fall long on your mat. Bring your arms next to you with the palms up. Deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Then settle into your peace. And in your peace, find your strength and your well-earned Shavasana.
you're ready, start to deepen the breath. Having a little movement, wiggling fingers and toes. Back. Ankles and wrists. Stretching those arms up overhead. Take a deep breath in through that nose. Fill up. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Hug your knees in. Rock and roll up to your seat at the front of your mat with your hands at heart center. Bowing. Grateful for all that light that you carry. Grateful for the bad stuff in there too, because it's in finding that balance that we find our strength. Lift your chins. Let that gratitude shine out no matter what it finds. Let it be light. That place in me of light and love bows before itself, shining so brightly from all of you. Namaste. Nice job, everybody. I'm with you in spirit. So post your videos, post your questions. I'm sure I just frustrated some of you who can't get your legs to come up. If you can get somebody to video it, let me see, and I can tell you what you're doing wrong. Until we can actually workshop them in person, we'll just play this way. I am always here. I have my phone and my internet and some time, so I'm happy to help you any way I can. Have a lovely day. I will be here again on Thursday, so keep practicing, and we'll play with something else next time we're together. Bye, everybody.